Hey, Brush Brigands, welcome to another painting session. How has everybody been? I've missed you. All right, oh, it's nice to be back. We have our Tiny Stein, we have our Oni that I would really like to finish. And as you guys might know, if you're in the Discord, I have been a little busy, just always working towards getting more time for the streams. But if everything goes all right, all of this being busy in a few months might actually give me more time to stream. In the meantime, I will take any chance that I have to do more streams. And today we're gonna go as long as I can until I literally fall unconscious due to the heat of this summer. Anyway, I'm just gonna tip my tiny stein to you guys, and I'm just gonna start getting right into it. Today we have some jasmine tea for now. Might bust out a little drink later. See if we deserve one. All right. But yeah, I am going to have to stay very well hydrated because it has been really hot now. Do I need? Is it better if I take this thing off? Is it better? Nah, I might keep it on for now. I've been using it on and off. I've been a little bit ultra overcautious with this thing because this is not the first mini of this that I've painted. I have painted this guy twice because I broke the first one right after the first stream. Anyway, today I would like to start by tackling the last unpainted area that we got over here, is this nice Oni bat. So we're gonna be doing that. I'm going for a dark, like almost black, dark brown, ruined, weathered bat. So I've got some image references, almost like a bit of a rusty, dark thing. We're gonna see what to do about that. But I think I am going to start with a pre-glaze because this is the beauty, right, of not having pre-glazed that bit already. As we can do a pre-glaze now. So we're gonna get some Van Dyke Brown. We're gonna mix it with our indigo, and for darkness we're gonna throw in some of our black spinel, which I really love. So we're just gonna start smearing this whole thing on there. And the only thing, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious than usual when we get closer to the hand, because the hand has already been painted. Now this is kind of why when I can, I prefer to do the pre-glaze of the whole miniature. But since this mini was so big and I knew I wasn't gonna have enough time to paint it all in one go, that's why I kind of left some parts behind. But that is okay. I've done it before and it kind of works very nicely. So there we go. Anyway, I hope everybody has been doing okay. There we go. I like after these long pauses, I will probably get to catch up with some of you guys, hopefully. And you guys can tell me what has been going on, what you guys have been working on. I see on Discord all the time you guys post your projects, and it's always really nice to see, and makes me a little jealous sometimes because I would like to have a bit more time to paint lately, but we will get there. This is what I am working towards, getting more time to paint. There you go. Let's see. Trying to, you know what? I think I'm gonna lose this. There we go. I might actually, part of the ongoing project might actually be changing my my painting station, kind of changing the place and the setup. So that might get an upgrade down the line as well, which is always nice. That was way too much thinner and way not enough paint. There we go. So nothing too special on the pre-glaze, just these dark colors. I might sneak in something more, I'm not sure, maybe a bit of purple? Maybe a bit of purple, but let me actually add some more of the black spinel for starters. There we go. I did the rope on his waist, and that was very, very black, almost like a cool black, almost like a bluish black, and I want to go with a warmer kind of black for this thing, for the bat. So we're probably gonna use a whole bunch of that Van Dyke brown. Now I might need to change brush in a bit because I don't want to mess up the hands that have been painted already. Let's do that in a second. I think I can do the back of the thingy here. Man, this color is very nice and covering already. Oh, it's nice to be back. Nice to be back again. These couple of months are going to be a bit of a random thing. I will not have too much time to stream, but hopefully after that, after we're all done with visas and all kinds of work stuff, I should have more time. Hey, Ultimate Olive, welcome in. Do I do anything to aid drying time? Personally, not really. I am very fine with how my oils dry. Like, they only take a few days, and I usually don't mind. I usually, when I'm finished painting, I have this sealed plastic box that I put my minis in, mainly for, you know, to avoid them getting all dusty and the dust sticking to them before they're dry. But what it also does, I think, it slows the drying time a little bit because there's less oxygen. So at least I think that's how it works. So I guess air drying them might be a better idea. The one thing you could do if you really wanted your mini to dry a little quicker, one thing you can do is to use some fast drying oils. I know that there are a few brands that actually offer fast drying, like there's like a fast matte white. I forgot, what is it, Gamblin? I'm in Japan, so I have a brand here, a Japanese brand that actually has some of that. And I've tried them. I actually just got a white that I can use instead of titanium white to just kind of speed up all the rest of the paint. And I also have a red because cadmium red is one of the slowest drying paints. So when you mix like a fast drying red maybe into your very slow drying cadmium red, it actually dries it or cures it a lot faster. I haven't really been using that stuff much lately because I personally it's not a problem for me, but that can be a solution if that is something that you really need your minis to dry faster. Now usually paints that are fast drying, that's because they contain alkyds, so anything with that kind of stuff should make your paint dry faster. I think if you can, though, probably the best thing you can do is let the mini dry, or let the oils dry normally. I used some Liquin. I couldn't tell how much to sped it up. Oh, is Liquin a speeder upper? I wasn't sure. Oh, the Fanchon red, huh? Yeah, reds, oranges, like that kind of stuff, they tend to take a longer time to dry. I remember there's one time I had just got my cadmium red and I painted a whole bust with mainly red because I was doing a one color challenge, and that thing took weeks. But then really I noticed that if you learn how to not use too much paint, it's gonna take a lot less for your paints to dry. But yeah, one thing I did because of the red, I did get this fast drying red that I used to mix in with my cadmium red, and that did help. Hey, Defiant Bidet, Schmickemace makes a Meglip. Oh, Malbutter, uh-huh. Yeah, that's a thing that I've noticed, Defiant Bidet. The texture of those quick drying paints is not the best thing. Let me get, sorry for the view here, but there are a couple of areas that I need my paint to get in without smearing it all over the hand, and that is kind of why it's probably best to paint everything at the same time, but I couldn't. But that's okay, we can always retouch the hand, not a problem. What is in there? There you go. All right, that is our pre-glaze. I'm actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I want this to be very dark, so we're just gonna let it sit on there for a little bit. Why not? In the meantime, there is one thing that I actually wanted to try that I think could be fun. I wanted to try and make a little glaze out of the Indian yellow over here, because the Indian yellow, by itself, it is a very transparent color, and I kind of never tried doing a bit of a glaze over something, and I want to see if it does anything for the back here. Let's just see. Let's try something. A speeder upper. You know, we only use the highest, the most professional words here. No weird stuff happens in the Stila streams. But anyway, welcome in, you guys. Really nice to have you here. So, let's see. I am thinning this down quite a little bit. We're also wiping it off. I'm going to try to keep my pinky as clean as possible because I'm going to rest it on the miniature. So what happens? Yeah, like I thought, the yellow here, it is very transparent, but I was hoping that by doing a little glaze with the yellow, it might give these areas a more vibrant tone. Yeah, like bring out the orange in these areas, and I think it kind of does. So, and what also it can do, it can wet some of these areas for us, so then we can do some more blends if we want. The other cool thing about going on over a dry paint with a very transparent paint is that you don't really get many brush strokes. It kind of blends in because it's so transparent. If I went over this with an opaque color, you would instantly see all these nasty brush strokes, right? But this, it's actually kind of nice. Wow. I do like this. It's given this area a bit more yellowiness. What colors did I use to get the red on? Oh, that is the bright red is cadmium red, like you see here to the left on the palette. All of the colors you see on the palette there, that's the palette that I used for this mini. So what we did is I used a bunch of this crimson red over here, or permanent crimson, sorry, for the pre-glaze, which is the staining process that I pretty much the same thing that I just did with this bat. So dark red, I darkened down the red with things like the purple here, the dioxazine purple, and the maybe even the indigo and the Van Dyke brown, that kind of stuff. We darkened it down, made a very nice dark red, and then went over it with the cadmium red. And that cadmium red deep, I actually prefer it to the Fanchon red personally, because the Fanchon red is a bit orange, and I really like the cadmium red instead. But what do we see? What do we have? We have an Ibina in the house. Welcome back, Ibina. So nice to see you. Oh my god, look at what's happening. making a glaze over these colors with the Indian yellow, it's actually making the color look almost fluorescent. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I really, really like what's happening here. Again, Indian yellow is a quite transparent color, so I wanted to see what an Indian yellow glaze would do. It is transparent, but it also has a very strong pigmentation. So that is it's a very interesting color. Oh, Ibina, you got your Oni? Hold on, let me see. Also, Ibina, how are you doing? It's so nice to see you again. Let's see, because Ibina painted the same one. Oh, look at that! I want to see a bigger picture of your Oni. It's hard to tell, but it's so cool. Oh man, yours is a lot smaller. I would have finished it already if it had been that size, but no. Person that wants this one was like, I want big Oni. I want huge Oni. Oh, that's so cool that we painted the same mini. Permanent crimson, yes, it is like alizarin crimson is probably what you will find the pigment named the most often. Permanent crimson is how Williamsburg calls it. Alizarin crimson or crimson lake, they're all colors that you'll find pretty much a very similar color. It's a quite intense dark red that is very transparent, and most transparent colors also tend to be staining. So it's a decent stainer. And I love mixing in with one of the opaque reds because it makes what I can only describe as that sexy red, like that dark red, which is really, really nice. And we use that for the darker parts of the armor here. We put a bit of crimson in on the hair as well. So yeah. And yeah, Fenton Red is a bit warmer, which is not a problem whatsoever. But just for the way that I paint, I like my opaque red to be more red, and then if I want to mix warmer stuff, I just have that cadmium scarlet, by the way, from Winsor and Newton. Oh man, it is so potent. If you paint a lot of orange stuff or fire, cadmium scarlet is very, very recommended. If you mix it with some yellows and stuff like that, it can look as crazy as a fluorescent color. Is very crazy. I like it very much, and you can see it in action here. I'm actually gonna take a little bit here because I got a little dot here of hair that got discolored, so we're gonna put some of that back on, and I might actually, aha, yeah, it's a very, very strong red that is more leaning on the orange spectrum of things. But I did see a Dylan art. Welcome in, Dylan. So nice to see you again. How are you doing? When I have time to do the Discord, that's pretty much when I have time to do the stream, and so I kind of like catch up with everything at the same time. But yeah, Dylan, I hope you're doing good. So Dylan is another wonderful miniature painting streamer. We've actually been having some really, really cool conversations on Discord in the past few weeks, talking about colors, and it all started with talking about the blues that I was using for this guy's skin. And we ended up talking about our different techniques. Like Dylan uses oils as well, but he has a few different ways that he uses for highlights and stuff. He also paints very, very bright minis. So we were saying that one day when we are both a little bit less busy, we should really do a multi-stream and kind of maybe paint the same miniature and compare techniques, because I think that would be super, super interesting. Ibina, you need a magnifier lamp? Oh man, yeah. I got the magnifier glasses recently. I am not using them right now. Well, because this mini is huge, and also because they're a little hard to use on stream, but I have used them on stream. Oh man, they changed my life. First, you get a little bit of a shock because you're like, oh my god, my painting sucks because you can see so much more. But it has made painting things like eyes so much easier, and I very, very much recommend if you can find maybe a cheap one, either a magnifying glass or lamp, the ones that have a they usually come with a round, what is it called, a ring light, and in the middle of the ring light is that magnifying glass. So you look through the glass and the thing also lights up your mini from right in front, which is really, really good. It tends to avoid a lot of reflections, or you can get the glasses like I did. And the glasses, they have the cool thing, you can like, they have the lenses that come in front of you and you can lower and put them up and down. Whoa, well, we lost that brush. Hold on. There we go. So I was just getting a little bit of a few touches here on the back of the hair while we wait for this pre-glaze here of the, or if we want to use the Japanese terms, the kanabo, or the metal rod, literally that's what it means, to dry the pre-glaze a little bit. And so then we can go on that. I really want to finish this guy. I just ordered my next, all of my remaining commissions printed, and oh boy, I got some backed up work to do. Look at that. That's Fanchon, or sorry, that's just cadmium scarlet. Isn't that a crazy looking color? Did a pre-glaze of Fanchon red and a Prussian blue. Got a really amazing deep pink. Oh yeah. Then I thought I better try cadmium red instead, it'll be even better. Oh, interesting. Okay, Ultimate Olive. And also, Daka, welcome in! Did you see I updated the little thingy, the little GIF? You're the first one to see it. Thank you so much, Daka. How are you doing? Ultimate Olive, yes. Sometimes when you mix the different reds with different blues, you kind of have to see what goes well with what. Not always a red and a blue will give you a good looking purple. Sometimes it's even down to the brand. Maybe this one brand uses these pigments and so on and so forth. But you know, if you found that it works very well with the Fanchon red, I guess just go with the Fanchon red. But yeah, but definitely that's pretty normal. Sometimes you mix two colors and you're like, that is not what I thought would happen. Oh, Dylan didn't have time to paint with the new blues. I really wanted to hear about that. That's a shame. You gotta let me know then, because Dylan just got like a cart filled with new paint. Yeah, decent camera. You can also connect that to a monitor. Oh, that's true. Yeah, actually, I do use my stream feed to look at details very often. Dak, I'm glad you're doing well. It's so nice to see you again. I was just saying before that these months are gonna be a bit like this. I am in the middle of visa renewing process, you know, just reminding me that I am an immigrant here and I still need to do a lot of stuff just in order to stay in the country. But I'm also working on the, you know, on how the work is going to be in the next few months, and that combined with the visa and all that, if everything goes well, the intention is to give me more time to stream and to hopefully get to a point where that's going to be my, you know, my main activity and source of income, possibly, or at least main activity. So any occasion that I get to stream, I will. And like today, I was finally caught up with some work, and it's the weekend, so all of the visa stuff can wait because everything is closed. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just get on stream and stay on stream until I drop unconscious, or we finish the beer, or I don't know, I get a heat stroke because it's really hot. But I am so glad to see you guys again. It must be nice and cool up in Alaska though, right? Even if, like, I know for Dhaka might be hot, but compared to here, we're starting to get the classic Japanese summer where it's very, very hot and humid. So yeah, Felton Wonder, hey, thank you so much for dropping in. How are you doing? Oh, and also Felton Wonder and Dhaka, have you guys been working on anything? No, a lot of you guys send your pictures on the Discord, and I always have a lot of fun looking at that. You guys have been painting some really cool stuff. I have been jealous. I just did a little bit of a glaze, not pre-glaze, glazing over this part with the Indian yellow, and I actually kind of like it. Like it a lot. So I think it has been enough time where we can actually start wiping away some of that. Let me get my sponges. I'm just, there you go. I'm gonna put this, oh, I can't do that anymore. Okay, I'm a little freaked out about this guy, about not holding him, because as some of you know, I've already dropped this mini and broken it once, because it has this thing that makes it heavy, and it tends to drop. So I'm really, really scared. I'm gonna be a little overprotective of it, but we're gonna be really careful what we do with our hands. No sudden movements, and we're gonna do the magic wiping now. Schedule is changed for the next months. Oh, that's tough. Well, I did start the stream a little earlier than I would usually, and I'm probably gonna go as, you know, as late as I can. And I'm hoping at least in the next few months I'll probably get less streams, but maybe when I do them, like today, we can do them longer, you know, Wapple style. Oh yeah, I gotta get rid of this thing. Hold on. There we go. 27. Well, it's been getting pretty up there here. It's not really much the temperature though. It's, again, how humid it is and how the Japanese wooden houses here. I'm in an older Japanese wooden house built in the 80s. So how it works is it's an oven basically. Like there's literally, when you go up the stairs and you go into the landing, it's like 55 degrees. It's just so hot. So I'm trying to just close all the windows and all that. So here is the power of staining combined with the sandy grit of this hold on, of the One Shot MIG Ammo primer. I have found it very, very nice to airbrush, mind you, airbrush, because I cannot get this thing to work brushing it on with the brush. But airbrushing it, it makes this very nice sandy, gritty, fine. It doesn't, it's very fine. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't get rid of any detail, but it is not smooth, because a smooth primer kinda doesn't help the oils. Oils need to get a grip, to get gripped. And what it does is it really helps the staining colors to stay on. You cannot see the primer. There you go. And oh, by the way, Yabina, I have been doing a little bit of testing with your suggested primer here, and the first test looks really good. So I got both the 1200 and the 1000 here, and I'm going to try them on our little barrels and see, because that would be a great way to find out that there are more ways to prime miniatures for people that do not have airbrushes for oils. So that's really good. Thanks, Sabina, for letting me know that. definitely it didn't have the grip of the MIG ammo, but as you say, maybe leaving it there for a few days will actually harden and you know, completely cure the primer, and it'll have a little bit more absorbent power. So we'll do that. How do I connect it to the handle? So this is a, you can barely see it, but you can actually see it on another miniature. It's a plastic bottle cap, and I attached the miniature with, in this case, with a shit ton of sticky tack. Usually you don't really need that much. Like, these are old test minis, they're not. But you attach it like that, and then this is a 3D printed, is a super old model. I don't even think it's on Thingiverse anymore, but this is an FDM 3D printed, very simple handle, and you just like screw it in. It's very nice. I would like to try some other models though, because this one I had to attach a base to it because it's a little too round. The base is a little too wobbly, and that's the culprit for breaking this thing. So, but there are tons and tons of 3D printable miniature painting handles out there, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's see if we can finish wiping off this thing. But you see, I wipe it off, the color stays on. Got some really tiny pieces of of sponge here, but that's okay. There we go. I really like the plastic bottle cap system, actually. I am a fan. I wouldn't mind maybe trying those handles that come with like a little piece on the side where you can rest your hand. I never really gave those a second thought, but I realized that I do that a lot. Like, I either rest my fingers on the mini itself, or in the case of a smaller mini, on my hand. And I wonder if maybe one of those handles would be good for my painting style. Might be, because I always need to rest my hand on something. It comes from taking pictures as well. I'm always like propping the hand and the arm to keep it stable. It's just a habit. I think a good one, because you get more stable touch. Let me put this away. And there we go. Can we put it away with one hand? There we go. Okay. So now I got a whole bunch of these two more makeup brushes. I just love makeup brushes for this kind of thing. They are just awesome. But for that, let me think. Yeah, let's get one of these. They came in a very tiny thing, but they're kind of nice. Let's get some brown in there. Actually, I want to get some browns in there, and maybe even like a stipple kind of thing. So let's get some a burnt umber, and let's mix it in with some Van Dyke brown. Let's do a dark brown kind of thing here, and let's see how that works. And you're not gonna see a lot of difference, but we are going to introduce a little bit of warmth. Oh no, you do see it a bit in these areas. We are introducing a bit more warmth in this bat. And then I want to do a weathered kind of thing. Like, it's not going to be very reflective, but since the sculpting on this thing, and I'm very surprised actually. I'm very surprised that it is so detailed, because Ibina knows this mini is supposed to be like this tiny, but it has all these very little like cuts and bruises in it. Doji, thank you so much for the sub. Oh, I know you're in your lesson right now, but we're gonna be waiting for you if we're still here, and if you come back in like 3-4 hours after your lessons. Enjoy your lesson. Thank you so much. Short break. After a reminder, I went to Thingiverse. Oh, Nice. I am glad you found it. They have so many now, don't they? I should really like I found one ages ago when I was still painting in acrylics. I got that one printed and that was the end of it. So I should really go and see if there's like something better that I could be using. So again, just getting some of this these browns on here. Mainly Van Dyke Brown and Burnt Umber, and then we can go on it with some lighter kind of things. But I want to actually, you know, be a little messy with this because we can use the texture of the oil to kind of give it a weathered kind of look. Now there is a streak of blue here from when we were painting before. We're gonna have to cover that a bit. Thank you, Doji. Aw, it's the magic of the oils. It's the magic of the oils. How am I already out of Van Dyke Brown? Most of the color you see there, by the way, it's dried. And I've just been adding, like, the furthermost to the right is where the fresh color is. And then to the left you have the older paint. And it has been a shame because lately, you know, I will get like one night when I can paint and then I have to stop, and so the paint just dries on the palette. So that's a bit of a shame, but can't really be helped right now. Let's see. I think for the handle I'm gonna go for maybe something a bit more bluish gray so we can differentiate. So I'm gonna get this yeah, let's get some indigo then. Let's get some indigo and let's just go on it first with some indigo. Again, it looks like we're not doing much because everything's so dark, but then when we use our brighter colors, it is all gonna come out. Because you have to think when you're painting in oils that your stuff, as long as you're working on with wet oils, your stuff is always gonna mix. So you put down some blue now, whatever other color you put after the blue is gonna mix with the blue. So that is kind of what I'm going for here. I don't want to put too much actually, but might need and then we can get a bit more in here. A little bit of indigo in a few of these areas as well. There we go. So now let's get a smaller brush and let's see what we can do. Time to put it in the freezer. Yeah, people were saying that putting your miniature like in the fridge, I heard. If you put them in the fridge, they'll dry quicker. I don't understand the science behind it. I'm not sure how it works because I know that oil cures or oxidizes, so I'm not sure what happens when you put it in a cooler place. So if anybody knows the science of it, do let me know, because I'm curious. Okay, so there you go. We took care of that. Let me see here. So what have we got that we can use? You know what? How about we start with how about we start by getting some more Van Dyke Brown, because I know that I'm gonna need it. Is that the Van Dyke Brown? No, that's Black Spinel. I think this is the Van Dyke Brown. There you go. New paint is cheaper than running a freezer for paint. Oh god. Yeah, just, you know, if you have the time, just wait for stuff to dry naturally. There we go. I know that some people might... there, you see? It fucking falls. I don't like this. Don't like this. Ah. Okay. Stress. If you are using your paints in a game, or your minis, sorry, in a game, and you really, really need them for the day after, then you might want to paint with quick dry paints, or just use Alkids. Ideally, you would just give them a few days to dry properly. But, you know, there are ways to make them dry faster if you need to. Yeah, Doji, haven't you seen it? Haven't you seen the casualty of war here? Hold on. He is still here to remind me. This is Oni 1.0. This is Oni 2.0. Now, the good thing is that I dropped it after just one stream. It was a long one, because if you see, we went through all of the pre-glaze there, and we dropped it. Yeah, don't you see here? I did one stream, and then I put it down to go talk to whoever we raided, and I turned, and it just fell down, like not even on the table, it fell off the table because of this stupid thing. The base was too round, and I just put it down, it kind of wobbled a bit, and then the bat was a little heavy, and it kind of made it drop, and the arm just came off. So I am trying to be very careful with it, especially now that we are way more than one session in. We're actually closer to finishing it. So what I wanted to do was take some of this nice Van Dyke Brown here, and we are using the Gamblin Van Dyke Brown, which is one of the more, oh, that's actually very, it is one of the more black, like very dark Van Dyke Browns. If you have other brands like Winsor & Newton, your Van Dyke Brown might look more brown-ish. So I mixed it in with some of our Radiant Yellow here and the Brilliant Yellow Pale. I want to see how that looks. Let me see. So what I kind of wanted to do here is exploit these edges and kind of, you know, pretty much make it look like it was like a wooden bat, and it was painted black or dark brown, but now the edges of the paint are kind of coming off. Because I saw some pictures and I really liked it. We might, here we go. Might look a little dark to you. I hope you can see what's going on. Yeah, it lost an arm for the cause. I was not happy. It's that there was quite a lot of Italian swearing involved. Not a pretty sight. Not a pretty sight. But, you know, every paint job has a silver highlighting, I guess that's what they say. And oh, why is my hand shaking? Yeah, I guess today my hand is shaking a bit. It's also a little awkward to hold like that, but it's fine. You know, the silver lining in that is that when I got to paint it again, I actually did the hair a bit better and even more bright. So, you know, when you do it a second time, usually it's going to look even better. Let me see if it's actually going to be less awkward to put it on this. I really like how the skulls came out. I did them off stream on one night that I had a little bit of time. But don't worry, I got another mini with a base that is literally just skulls. So we can practice some bone painting. And that's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to be able to watch that stream if you're afraid of spiders. Spoilers. But hopefully you're not. So we're going to do the edges like that. I think that's going to look cool. And the cool thing in this is I think we don't need to be super precise in this. Literally just kind of like using that randomness to make it look more realistic. There we go. But kind of be a little bit of these edges that lost color and the paint on them, and we'll see how that looks. Break is almost over for Doji. All right. I hope to see you again, Doji, but if we don't, for now, you're getting a tiny sign, and everybody else too. Cheers to you. Thank you so much for popping in, Doji. It's really, really great to see you. And have everybody wish Doji a good lesson. There we go. And hopefully when Doji comes back in, not only we're still going to be streaming, but we're going to be closer to a finished mini, or we're going to have a finished mini. Wouldn't that be amazing? So let me actually add a bit of brown into that. And let's see how that would look. I have painted so many of these Oni bats because we painted a lot of Onis. If you go back on the channel and you look, there's so many Onis we've painted. Red ones, blue ones, we've painted like turquoise, black. We haven't painted a green one or a yellow one yet, because there is supposed to be like 5 different kinds of Oni, and I have just noticed that there's a weird insect climbing my my microphone cable. I have never seen it before. It looked like a little tiny nut. Oh well, as long as it's there not doing anything. It's like right over here. It's a tiny little insect. Oh well, it's doing its thing. I don't have Windows open, so like there are some streams there have been in the past where I'm streaming with I've had the window open before, and we get all these tiny little flies to fly everywhere on the mini, on the palette. They do kamikaze attacks in the thinner. They fly in my mouth, but no, not today. Oni fetish. We do paint a lot of Oni, and then I guess like people see the Onis and they're like, oh, can you paint me an Oni too? I mean, I have to say it's a pretty cool thing to be asked to paint an Oni by a Japanese person. It's really cool. But we have been painting a lot of Japanese themed minis, and a lot of them have been what do you call them? Commissions. We do have a few coming up actually. Let me think. Yeah, I think for a while there is not going to be an Oni. Can you believe that? We're actually gonna have some sexier stuff coming up. One is going to be okay for Twitch, but one is not. So we are going to bring back our old Oily Fans or Steel Rebel After Dark, because there are minis that need to get painted even if Twitch doesn't want them. Some of you might remember the Twitch t-shirt that we give our mini. I made these little like paper t-shirts that I put on the mini when I want to show it on Twitch, and I can't show the nippies. But then I have this other streaming platform that we haven't used in a while called DLive, which is literally a copy of Twitch. You can even log in with your Twitch account, and you don't even need to be logged in to chat, which is really nice. But basically when the time comes to paint minis that are too sexy for Twitch, we used to do it on OnlyFans, but that was a little too it was a little too hard for people to join because you had to register and you had to give it your credit card and all that bullshit. So I found this DLive where people can just come in and hang out and they don't even need to make an account if they don't want to. And we can paint our nipples and our butts as to our heart's content. So if you wanna get in there, it's you can type !DLive in chat. You can get the link. And you can drop it a follow, but I also, you know, when I send out the going live notification on Discord, you're gonna get the link then as well. It's going to be one of the next minis that we do after this one. Maybe not right after this one, but it's going to be one of the ones coming up. And whoa, there it is. Did you see it fell? No. Hey, 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 come on. Come on, you can. Oh, look at that. What is this thing? What are you doing, dude? Just do. Okay, there you go. That actually startled me. What are you? You don't fly. It doesn't look like it flies. Well, it's a cute little thingy. And please don't go in the pallet. We don't want you to die live. There you go. Anyway, it's coming for the mini now. Hashtag leave the Oni alone. Oh, it's climbing the thing again. Ah, whatever. Well, we have a little friend here. All right, Daka. Sorry. Tiny time to you, Daka. Have a great night. Thank you so much for popping in, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great night. It's an oily insect, right? He lives on oil and resin. I don't know what the thing is. It just dropped from. I think it was trying to climb the microphone. Well, it's better that it dropped and then it didn't like climb all the way up to my mouth. Anyway, he wants to paint too. He wants to help. Little thingy. We do get a lot of insects in this stream. I try not to harm them, but like I don't harm them, but when they do like skinny dipping, when they go swimming in my thinner, there's not much I can do. There's not much I can do about that. There we go. As long as it's not mosquitoes. If it's a mosquito, I will kill it because my blood is mine. Anyway, I think it's coming together already pretty nicely. I think we're getting that nice little look of oh, especially over here. It looks pretty cool. So let's do this on the here as well. Just trying to get, you know, we can do this. I kind of feel like we can do this pretty, you know, fairly quickly because it's not a super what's the word, like it's you don't have to be super precise, and you can always get back in if there are a few areas where you're like, oh no, this area is supposed to be darker and I made it light like that little bit. We can always come back in later and darken it or brighten it. So I think this is gonna look pretty cool. It's a kind of a different way of painting the bat than before. I've always lately I've been painting it with a lot of like more of a metallic feel to it, and using a lot of greens and blues. But this time I wanted to go more dark brown, and I think it's looking nice. Anyway, look at that Wombat Combat coming in. Okay, we're using a bit. I'm alternating between Radiant Lemon and a Brilliant Yellow Pale. There we go. I like it too, I think, when you're you know, highlighting or putting down a certain color, and you know, you have to keep adding the colors to the mix. I like to add different colors so you have little tiny little variations here and there. We could even, you know, do a few, maybe something like some greenish hues here and there. We can really, you know, because it's a question of style too. Maybe you like colors to be very to have the same color highlight and shadow throughout a whole thing, but I really like that color variation like we did here with the different blues going into reddish purples and bluish purples. I really like that color variation. I think it gives it more life and more cohesion between the different parts of the miniature. So we can do that, and we can also, you know, put some reds in there and all, because it could be still reflecting some of the colors that we have on the mini, because even you wouldn't, you have no idea how even things that we don't think are reflecting, like our skin, they still reflect light. A great way to actually see it, if you've ever used a camera that has a what's the name of that filter? A polarizer filter, which is basically what your sunglasses have. If you have one of those filters on the camera, and it comes with a little like twisty thing where you can rotate the polarization so you can see, basically what it does is it turns off reflections. So you can be looking at a body of water and it's all reflective, and then you turn your camera's lens and now you can see through the water. But it does the same thing. Like one day I was taking a picture of a road, and I used the filter and I could see how much reflections there was on the road. The tree leaves reflect a lot of light, and really I think that reflects in the miniature painting, in that there should always be a little bit of colors from your surroundings in the mini. And depending on the kind of taste that you have for how you want to paint, if you want to be more realistic or more fantastic, like sometimes, you know, if something is close like this to something red, I will put some red in other parts of the mini, even if they're not necessarily facing a position where they would be reflecting it. But I think my style is, if it looks good, do it. Because, you know, sometimes you try to go as realistic as possible, and then you look at it and it doesn't even look good. So I like just like my mini to look nice, and that is pretty subjective, but if it looks good to you, keep it. Now here I'm going to get some of these lighter areas, and then I might have to bring back some darks, but that is really easy. Very easy. So it's not, don't worry if you know, over brighten something. It's not the end of the world. You can always go back in with some darks. Hey, Maple Kingda! Wow, it's been a while. How are you doing? Nice to see you again. Love to get all the catch-ups with everyone. Oh man, I've been having a blast painting this guy. Now I really do need to finish him, because I was just looking at my painting schedule and all the other commissions that I have, and I have been a little backed up with all the work that I had to do. So I'm hoping to get more time to stream in the next few months, but for the time being, it's gonna be pretty sporadic because I'm trying to figure out visas and work and all this kind of stuff. But you guys are always so nice. You always pop up whenever I'm streaming. So today that I decided to just take the chance and just we're gonna stream for as long as we can. Usually we've been going for like 2-3 hours, but today, as long as I have voice and stamina, we're just gonna go and we're gonna see how far we get. Oh no! I'll take some rest to get some vitamin. I hope you get well soon, Maple. I'm so sorry. Here we go. Speaking of vitamins, I actually have some... My orange tree is doing really good this year so far. I'm hoping we're gonna get a whole bunch of oranges. There are so many. They're as big as... like about this big right now. Tiny and cute. And the tree is filled with spider webs, which I left because I think, you know, they're gonna eat all the pesky insects. I think it's a good thing. Spiders shouldn't eat the oranges. So that's good. But I'm gonna have to prepare for the war against the birds pretty soon. Because they eat them. Oh man, look at who we have. It's a Nosferatu. I know, right? I am as surprised as you, Nos. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Well, by now you know how it is. These months, like I was just saying, is going to be stream when you can. And then hopefully if the projects go well, what I am doing right now that keeps me so busy that I can't stream, that's actually... I am doing it so I will have more time to stream in the next months. Hopefully taking care of some work and visa related stuff. The final goal is pretty much for the painting to be my main thing. That would be amazing. So keep your fingers crossed and your tiny steins raised. And whenever we have time to stream, we will stream. It's gonna be almost like a flash mob type of thing, right? But man, so nice to see you, Nos. Did you catch James as well? He was streaming before I was in there. I didn't see you there though. He was painting with some nice perline black capes and stuff. A rough day. Oh no! Oh no! I think you need a tiny stein. I don't know if you're having a drink, Nos, but if you are, I'm drinking with you. Just tea for now, just jasmine tea, but we might, if I go long enough, I might get out a little drink here. Your old Stila needs a drink every once in a while. Oh, just got home. Oh man, I hope you can get some time off or some rest, some fun stuff. Oh yeah, been meaning to ask you, have you been doing any more painting or any more Infinity games? I haven't heard about any of that in a while. I was wondering. Might have one. Well, you know, I always like some company. I did grab myself a little drink from the super before, you know, maybe if we get to a good point with this guy where he's gonna be finished, we might do a little bit of a a drink and a pat on the head, because I've made this poor guy wait so long for his mini, but it can't be helped. Japanese people are so nice though. They're always 99.9% of the time that I've dealt with a Japanese customer of any kind, they've always been super nice. And when they get their minis, they write super long emails about how much they like them and what they liked, and how they're gonna care for them and keep them safe and stuff. It's just great. It's so nice. Ooh, some staining tests. That is nice. Oh, that's great though. That's great. That's great for learning, that's great for inspiration, and that's a lot of fun. What did you stain? What did you do? What did you find out? Yeah, staining tests are great too to, you know, avoid surprises when you're, I mean, unless you like doing the YOLO staining, like spend a half hour doing a pre-glaze and then try to wipe it off, see if it comes off or not. But if you want a little bit of that knowledge, it's really nice to do those staining tests and see, okay, this color stains a bit, this color can't stain to save its life. Um, oh, you missed that we had a little insect invasion. I don't know where he went, but he was climbing a thing here on the microphone and then it just like dropped on the on the painting area and I had to rescue it because it dropped on its back and it started freaking out. And I had no idea what it was. People were saying that it was an oil abomination monster. There you go. Look at that. So we did the simplest little thing here. We did a nice little pre-glaze with Van Dyke Brown and Indigo and Black Spinel. And then we went over with some more Van Dyke Brown to make like this dark brown, kind of like painted wood that is, the color is chipping kind of effect. And I'm really liking how it's looking actually. It's to be honest, it's looking pretty finished already, apart from the handle next to the hands there. It was gonna need a few more highlights here and there, but man, you might actually switch to the smaller brush and put some highlights in there. But before we do that, let me get some highlights on the handle then. Oh my god, Wombat! That's right! You were gonna start. What did you use in the end? Because I remember you were not sure what to start with. Tell us all about it. Let me see. No gaming yet. Oh, you stained a yogurt cup? Really? You stained a yogurt cup? Just left some Stynylrez on it and the spots of each color. Let it sit for 15 minutes and then smear the dot up the cup and wiping as much off as possible. Aha. Gotcha. Cool. Did you try like all of your colors, or was it some specific colors that you wanted to test? I hope it was fun and helped. And I always like to hear about that stuff because, it's whatever we do when we share it, it becomes a great reference for everybody. And especially because we all have, some of us have the same colors, but some of us have colors that others don't. So if you did a staining test with some colors that I don't have, I'd love to hear about that. Or even some colors that I haven't tested yet. The cool thing about that is that even like same color, like let's say an ultramarine blue or something, you'll get different staining properties sometimes across brands because they use different quality pigments, or they even mix different pigments, and then the vehicle, the oil can be different. And the other changing factor can be primer, of course. All the colors, oh my god, that must have taken some time. Nice. Did you have some surprises, like some stuff that you were like, I'm sure that this color is not gonna stain, and instead it was stained pretty well? Oh, and Wombat Combat just posted probably your mini. Oh, that's a really good one. Nice and round surfaces, not too many tiny little details. Man, it's looking great. I love that yellow. Is that Indian yellow? And is that non-metallic metal. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm seeing it from a little bit afar, but the metal on the shoulder pads looks really good, man. Well done. How did you like your first time? Your first time with oils? Any thoughts? Any challenges? I love hearing about this stuff, you guys. I'm gonna try to put in a little bit of radiant blue, by the way, on this thing. I'm not sure if I like it or not. Let me think. Oh, maybe purple might have been a bit better. Oh, let's just mix in a little bit of purple. Man, Egyptian violet is one of the thickest, like one of the hardest colors that I have seen. Like, it's very, very hard, for a lack of a better term. If you've ever tried the Williamsburg Egyptian violet, it's almost hard to pick up with your brush. Oh, that's a little too much. Let's add, I mean, I want purplish, but not super purple. Let's add, if you want a nice purplish color, you can add some Van Dyke brown to your Egyptian violet or dioxazine violet for any other brand but Williamsburg. That is the same pigment. Oops. Bismuth, Vanadate Yellow, Permanent Crimson, Pearl Orange, and Viridian. Oh, Permanent Crimson, that's the one, the very one I have right here. I love that color. Nice. How's that yellow? Is that a opaque one or a transparent one? I did not hear about that one. It's non-metallic metal. Looks amazing. So I'm seeing from like 1.5 meters from the computer screen. That looked like metal to me, and it looks great already. Good job. Very well, very good light placement. Very, very nice. Oh man, did you see, Nos? I'm so glad you tried the two violets, because while the color itself is the same, right? Like the pigment, or the hue, they would call it, you know, the experts. The hue is the same, but oh man, is it? There's a reason why we nickname Egyptian violet Egyptian violent, because it is very violent. It stains the shit out of everything it touches. And even here I wanted just a little bit of purple, but now it's all purple, so I'm gonna have to do something about this. Let's see. I'm not sure. Well, we did put a bit of purple. Now I think I can go back to something a bit more on the indigo side of things. Maybe to add a little bit of this yellow here, it'll give it a very, very slight greenish tinge. Oh yeah, hard time breaking out the acrylic habits, I am sure. So I decided to shelve the mini I started with, pick a mini I care a little bit less about. Oh. Yeah, that's a really good idea, Wombat. It's, if you're starting out, maybe, unless, you know, you're super confident, you always need to start out on, you know, on a test piece. Or, you know, if it's, if you have access to 3D printing, of course it's another thing, because it's, you know, you can make more. But if it's something you have only one of and you kind of care about it, maybe that's, yeah, that's a good idea to wait a little bit. But that's looking already really good. Seems kind of transparent. A Series 7? So it's like one tube costs like $300 pretty much. Interesting. Yeah, the Egyptian violet is just intense. It might even be like, for some people, especially if you're not used to oils, what do you think? Like Egyptian violet might almost be a little too much, where it's like, maybe you have to have a little bit of experience on how to handle oils before you handle something so strong, because maybe you just want to, say you want to make a little color mix and you're like, okay, let me mix in a little bit of violet in there. Now, if you do it with a dioxazine violet, then you just it just mixes. But if you do it with Egyptian violet, you get Egyptian violet, and the other color that you're trying to mix it with completely disappears. So it might be a little jarring at the beginning, but man, it's an intense color. Wombat Combat, I think you were right to feel confident though. You gotta go YOLO sometimes, right? And it does look really good. Like you said, you stopped at a certain time, and I'm sure you're going to finish it at some point. But so far, the mini looks really good. It's going to. I'm going to look forward to see it finish it. To see it finished. Sorry, I can't talk. I swear. So yeah, I think this greenish blue, that's kind of okay there. I really don't know how to make this. Sometimes I have to be honest. Sometimes I get impatient with some parts of the mini where I'm like, I don't care about this little piece. I just want to do the fun part. I just want to paint the skin. But you gotta be gotta be patient. Gotta try to make all the parts look good. Now we did that. Let me get maybe a little bit of this purple and a bit more of the yellow. And let's just do some highlights. I can't see. It's casting a shadow on itself. The colors, could get them right. Ooh, do you mean mixing the colors or color combinations, like the color scheme? Because that's definitely something, especially if you're used to, you have your acrylics, so you know exactly your colors. Like, I don't know, you have your squid pink and your elfic flesh, and you're like, those colors, you know what to use when you want a certain color. And now you don't have those anymore. You have titanium white, you have cadmiums, you have phthalos, and it's like, what do I use for what? Definitely, um, if you paint a few miniatures, you're gonna get pretty used to it, and you're also gonna start finding your favorite colors. Because same thing with the acrylics, I guess. It's like sometimes you buy a color and it looks good, and then you start using it and you find yourself kind of not using it any very much because it's just not a color that you like, or it's not what you thought. So having a little bit of that experience is actually really good too. There we go. We are getting there. And after this, we can do some highlights on the stick here, and I am optimistic that we can finish this pretty soon. That would be amazing. I guess you know what, I rarely finish a miniature on stream, because most of the time, we started on stream and then we go for a few streams, and then I always finish it off stream. Very few minis have been completely finished on stream. We'll see with this one what its fate is going to be. Thank you, God's Alter Ego, and welcome in. We have been trying to go for very, very bright for the skin and hair, and also some of the outfit, and it has been a blast. The The hair is so bright that I almost wanted to put like a little warning, bright colors, look away if you just woke up or something, because it is pretty, it's just gonna get stuck in your retinas, right? Anyway, I hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a good a weekend. It is the weekend. Oh my god. I cannot remember what day it is most of the time. There we go. It's June, right? Still June. Yes. Oh man, quinacridone magenta is the shit, isn't it? It's so much fun. It's a fun little color. It can look pretty funky, meaning like very unrealistic, because it's just like this very bright pink. But when you use it like this thing, oh, so cool. That's magenta. That's actually not magenta. This is magenta. That's a Japanese color. This is quinacridone magenta, and this is a hand mix Japanese traditional color called botan, which means peony, because it's based on the color of the peony flower, and it looks pretty similar. There we go. But I love that color. Oh, God's Alter Ego, you just missed it. We just did it, but it was actually pretty easy, and we're gonna get back to it in a minute to do some highlights. So we're painting with oils. So what we did first, we stained the area with mainly three colors. We used this black spinel, which is a very dark covering black, and then we mixed in some indigo, which is a very dark blue, and Van Dyke brown, which is a very dark brown, and we made a nice little base there, and then we wiped it off. We left that nice wet area, and we went over it with some more browns, and then the weathering that you see there, it was super easy. We mixed our two browns here, the Van Dyke brown and the burnt umber, with some of these lighter Radiant Lemon, Brilliant Yellow Pale. That's actually the little mix right here, and we just kind of stippled it on. And since we are using oils, the highlights we can blend them in, and we got this nice little kind of like wooden club with chipped paint kind of look. And I think if we get some highlights in there, it's gonna be looking pretty good already. But it has been an hour and a half, and I was also working on the hair and on the rest of the thing here, but the club is already almost done. So this is the magic of the oils. And if you want, I save all the videos as highlights, so after the stream, if you want to go back and rewatch it, it's going to be at the beginning. Let me see. Oh, yellow ochre is also a nice little color. You can make yellow ochre with other colors, but having it kind of helps, you know. You can probably mix like a yellow with black and then add some red, and you get something really similar to yellow ochre. And the advantage of doing it as a mix is that you can tweak the different colors that you put in to get different different hues of it. But I remember yellow ochre was in my initial set of colors that I had, and I used it a lot. I used it a lot on skulls, actually. Oh, the Viridian. Verdigris, so you can mix the Viridian with a blue, and then you can add some white to it. It's probably gonna make a really nice verdigris. Yeah, and it's probably staining too, because Viridian is very similar to phthalo green, and it's a very nice color. Yeah, you might not even need a blue in there to make the verdigris. You know, if you mix a brilliant yellow pale or a white with it, you know, it just needs some testing. Now I need to get my brush in there. Let me try something here. Let me get some of the darker indigo. Now I need to do this because don't want to cheat. If I finish the mini, I want it to be finished. But this stupid thing, it's hard to reach in some parts. There we go. Now let's try and get some highlights. It's maybe almost what I want to get from AdMech Kill Team. Ooh. Oh, you used Quinaquito Magenta. Nice. Yeah, well, God's Alter Ego, let us know in the future if you have any pictures, or if you have any pictures now even. Show us what your works have been. And it's really cool, right? Getting some inspiration for your own color schemes. I always say it all the time. I always look for image references when I'm painting stuff. I have these big Illustrator files. I put all my pictures in there, and I do color picking. Color picking is a great way to figure out, you know, how to get some kind of color. Like, for example, I don't know, if you have something like a stone, or even like skulls, or you have a nice image and you want to imitate the colors in that image, but you're not sure because there's a lot of different colors in there. You're not sure what kind of colors they are, even a skin tone. Then color picking is your friend. Now I do it in something like Illustrator, but you can get a browser add-on and do it right in your browser from a Google image search. You basically have this thing where you click on an image and you get what exactly the color is right there. You get the color isolated, you get the code for that color, so you can look it up, and you can look up how it's mixed. And that has been super useful for me, to the point that I do it pretty much every single time I paint something. I get my my image references, and then I just do some color picking, and I'm like, oh, look at that. Sometimes you have surprises. Like, I was doing some color picking on some wood or some rock textures, and I'm like, oh wow, there is pink in this rock and stuff like that. And sometimes you're like, oh wow, this thing that totally looks like a brown is actually a green. Because it's not always easy to distinguish singular colors inside an image, because they kind of change how we perceive them depending on what color they are next to. Have you guys ever seen that image? I think it's a picture of a strawberry, and you see the strawberry as being red, but there is no red. There are no red pixels in that picture, something like that. It's very fascinating. But it's just about how we perceive color difference between two colors that are next to each other. Oh god, I almost grabbed the bat, because I'm used to holding it by the bat, because that's the last thing I painted. So for the whole time that I was painting this guy, the bat was not painted, and I caught myself at the last minute. I almost grabbed the wet bat to turn it over. My god. Steela's reflexes proved worthy this time, but I hope there is not a second time to test me again. This mini has surely been a challenge. We dropped it once. There we go. Then we got too busy to paint it. It's the day that it gets shipped out of my house. I am gonna breathe a breath of relief. Anyway. Oh, that's so cool. Capes are so much fun to paint in oils, because they are one of those things that are very hard to paint in acrylics. Any kind of very flat, smooth surface, anything where you need a big gradient like that could be achieved with, you know, with an airbrush, you can do with oils so easily. Yeah, go show them off. Prove the flesh is weak. Can't even see the colors right. There we go. Let's see. The cool thing you can do too, you can use this little technique we call blending brushes to just blend your colors that you just put on. And okay, that's looking decent, I think, the handle. I had to do some of that. So now I want to get my tiny little, there you go, this brush. And we can do some further highlights here and there. I think it's really gonna help. So let's try some straight up brilliant yellow pale here, which is going to look like white on the mini. I'm already gonna tell you, it is a yellow. It's a very nicely opaque and bright off-white yellow that you can pretty much use instead of white. It will desaturate your colors a lot less. So we're gonna drop, literally gonna drop tiny little dots here and there. Now this is not a metallic thing here that we're doing, so it's more of an edge catching the light kind of thing, and the wood underneath the paint here. And just to give the mini more contrast, we're going to go around and just put a few of these dots in here, like so. And that really defines the shape and all these little angles. And you know, whenever there's a bit of like a scratch or something, maybe the edge of it is gonna catch the light and you're gonna get one of these little highlights. It's a bit different than what we would be painting it if it was you know, a metallic surface. But yeah, you should know this, but how many brushes are you working with right now? Why should you know? So right now, I mean, I always have all my brushes in front of me that I have used. Let's see, I've used this one for the pre-glaze and also this one for the pre-glaze. I'm using this and this to kind of blend. I have used these. I have used this and this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 right now, but I will keep getting other ones. Usually when I'm painting something from the start, I use like maybe closer to 20, also because sometimes I just want a, you know, between just wanting a clean brush and maybe I find a couple of brushes that don't work well and I put them aside and all that. I do use a lot of them. I tend to use a lot less when I am just retouching figures, like doing highlights. Then I'll just use a few of these smaller ones. But yeah, those 10 are all dirty brushes from this session. But it's really like, you know, if I use, because I have a whole bunch of brushes and I'm just gonna grab them. But it's not that I'm gonna say you need all of those brushes. I have a bunch of these liner brushes, and then I have a whole bunch of these kind of like filberty kind of makeup brushes, and these are really good too, because these you can use both for pre-glaze and for the after pre-glaze thing. They're very, like, they're not too big. You can use them to do stuff, but I think the brushes I use the most are probably the thin liner brushes. Once you've done your, you know, your main colors and your pre-glaze, then you just get on with the details. There we go. But I always go pretty cheap with the brushes, to be honest. I get a lot of dollar store brushes, and then If I go to the hobby store, I'll always just grab the cheaper ones. I also try brushes from the craft store, like oil brushes, or even, um, you know, brushes that are meant for watercolors. And just if it looks good, if it looks like I could use it and it's not too expensive, I'll just try it. And I started having my favorites, but I do go through brushes very quickly. So I don't know why, I just seem to destroy brushes. Even if I clean them very thoroughly after my session, they always seems to they all seem to just get caked after a while and just, you know, they'll fray and all that. That's why I keep them cheap, because if they're gonna last me just a couple of sessions anyway, might as well just stay cheap. Anyway, so we're going around. I think you can see these tiny little dots of light that we're putting on this guy here. Oops. Well, that was not a tiny dot. That was more of a smear. But guess what? We can always correct that. I want to put a little bit on the edge of these things because the edges are, you know, they're edgy. So we need some of that. And then there's not enough light paint up on here because it's a harder area to reach. I might actually go back in there later with the more brownish kind of color. But this little stippling that we do here and there should really help make the bat pop a little bit more, especially after doing the matte varnish. I do the matte varnish on my mini, not that much to protect the oils because the oils are pretty strong, but depending on the oil that you use, some of them, like, you know, here the Spinel Black are more shiny, some of them are more matte. I just like to give everything the matte look, with some very rare exceptions. Like I might actually do the beads shiny because they look really nice shiny, but I don't know. No problem, Nos. I guess it's really up to you and how you use your brushes. I know that there are some people that have been using the same brush for years, which is it sounds like fantasy to me. Sorcery. But yeah, I just like grabbing brushes and I'm like, oh, I just need this one, this one. There we go. And I love that in oils, it's not that you have to clean your brush, you know, once you finish using it. Like in acrylics, you really have to swish it around in water, otherwise it'll just dry on you. And from that comes a very funny little anecdote where some time ago I had to paint something super quick for our session, and I'm like, oh, it's tomorrow. Let me just get some of the contrast paints that we have here that our DM uses. And let me just do it with acrylics, and I completely forgot you have to wash your brushes. So I did it oil style. I would paint a bit and then put the brush down, pick up another one, and just go on like that until I realized that I had like 4 or 5 brushes that were completely caked with paint. Not the best. Steal a moment, I have to tell you, but what do you... I don't know, what can we do? It's the oily life. It's the oily life. There we go. We're called the brush brigands, not the brush smarty pants scientists. There we go. Ooh, I saw a little thingy here. There are a lot. Again, I'm gonna say it again. This sculpt is really cool. There are a lot of scratches and stuff that this mini is not made to be huge. I believe at least it's made to be a small gaming miniature. So this one was just like blown up. And usually when you do that, you don't get a lot of details, but even here on like the thing I just highlighted here was a scratch. There's a lot of little scratches that you would probably barely see on the gaming size miniature. Like I don't know if Fibina is still here, but you painted it a lot smaller than this one. I don't even know if you could see all of these things at that size, right? Very nice. It's very nice. Like I was worried when the person asked me to make it bigger because I'm like, oh no, there's not gonna be enough details, but that was not the case to be worried at all. Yeah, that was fun, Nos. But again, it's a good thing that my brushes aren't expensive. Here we go. Look at this grab. Look at this. The way we're grabbing the brush. Look at that. That's so weird. You gotta, that's like for grabbing the brush not too close to the bristles, right? I think we're nailing that. There we go. Now it's looking a lot better already. I think, wow. I didn't think it was gonna look so good just for a little bit of that. I kind of want to get a little bit more in there, but let's do this. What happens if I get some purple in there? Just, you know, your eye is not going to notice perhaps that the color is a bit different, but your brain will, or maybe not, but Stila will know, and that's the biggest thing. Oh, thank you, gods. I kind of need that a bit. Hold on, I'm still gonna hold a hand onto this because I'm paranoid now. And we're gonna keep drinking on some of our jasmine tea. Ah, thank you so much. Since we're doing highlights, it might be a good thing to go around the mini a bit and do some more highlights. Man, look at the back of the bat here. I kind of really like it. Maybe too much there, but really, really cool. That's so easy. Did I cheat? Did we cheat? What did we do? Oh, we could put in a few colors in there. Because it is a bit flat and all kind of the same in color. We could put a little bit of you know, a few reflected lights and colors. Let's see, maybe some blue for the sky or something like that. But let me finish the highlights first. Is that a thing? What's a thing? Where you? Oh, that's, I just invented it. I don't know. I felt comfortable doing it like this. No, I know that people hold the brush like, you know, you're supposed to hold it very gently and not like super close to the end, but I think in the end is, I have seen, there is a Japanese painter and she paints, how does she paint? Like something like this. She does something like weird. She paints like this. It's almost like she's holding the brush like it's a chopstick. But it works for her, so you know. And I always try to follow the advice of James, you know, definitely don't crush the brush and don't hold it too close to the bristles, but in the end you just gotta look at the result, right? But yeah, you'd think that with more pressure you'd have more control, but you're just gonna shake more and you're really not gonna have much control. A lot of oil painters don't hold near the bristles. Yeah, yeah, like if you look at the actual like canvas painters, it's very like they hold, it's really weird too, because like I don't know if I could, like I always have to have a point of you know, that I can hold my, rest my hand onto something. I don't know if I could like air paints like they do. But yeah, it's like everyone has their own technique. And yeah, I'm trying to to know more Japanese painters, and actually I've met a bunch of sculptors and stuff too, you know, between going to that event last year where all of those indie miniature sculptures were, but like I'm really starting to discover the world of figures here, which is more. There is, of course, a world of miniature and tabletop RPGs and all that, and of course Warhammer. But the big thing in Japan is garage kits, where, you know, by garage kits here they mean DIY, like indie made figures of usually anime characters and so on and so forth that you then build and paint yourself. And there's a huge scene for that, for people making them, and so much so that I was reading about it. They, in theory, you can only call it a garage kit if it has been made from, you know, from a private. Like, you don't call garage kit an actual a figure made by a big company. And we have Rhinus Leatherworks coming in with 30 people. Oh, Leatherworks. Man, you gotta go check out their channel too if you want to see some really cool stuff. How is everybody doing? We are, right now, we're retouching this nice wooden bat that has seen better days, but this is what we have been working on the past few streams. This is a very big miniature. We've been painting it in oils, and it has been a longer paint than usual because the first one kind of fell and break, but we don't talk about that. How is everybody doing? Thank you so much for that raid. Irinus too, welcome in. I love that butt. You know we love butts here. I already like you. Privilege, look at how little those bristles bend. Oh yeah, we barely, we're not brushing it on. We're literally just touching it. We're putting it, we're plopping it. Plopping is probably the best the best term you could use. Now we are, you guys keep in as we are pretty much getting finished with some of the highlights here. Now I'm spotting a few more. Let me get a bit of yellow in there. I'm spotting a couple of areas. There we go. Here that could probably use some highlights, but we were having a whole bunch of fun painting this bat, and then we're gonna go around the mini and sort of finish off all of the highlights and whatnot, and try to finish it. So what have you been working on, Rhinus? Thank you so much. Working on bracers and greaves. Ooh, cool stuff. And man, and I bet that would be like watching the stuff you make is probably a really, really good reference, right? For when we have to paint leathers and whatnot on our miniatures with, which, you know, I've never done yet a leather-centered painting session. We've done some of that stuff in the past. Like we've done a session where we concentrated on how to paint rocks and so on and so forth. Our big thing, usually we do paint a lot of skin tones because I love painting skin tones, but I also like to kind of like give a like a spotlight to one technique, which is a lot of fun. There we go. I'm at home and can watch in HD. Oh, awesome. Nos, were you still watching at like 180p?
Yeah.
Come on. I am not giving you 60 frames per second for nothing. Thank you so much, Wish, for that follow. Welcome to the Brush Begins. We're going to tip our tiny stein to all of our new people that came in, and we're gonna take a drink because it's really hot. But I am so excited for finishing this guy, and I think I'm actually gonna use, let me see, now that we have the highlighting brush, there are a few areas here that we can highlight. Again, we are painting in oils. This is a big Oni miniatures, the miniature that we have been working on, and I can't wait to finish it. I can't wait to see how it's gonna look finished. And we have a whole bunch of other stuff that's gonna be coming up. I have my next commissions printing right now, so I can't show them to you. I think next time we stream, I'm probably gonna be able to show you guys some of the coming up stuff. Now I don't know when they will be, because of all the stuff that I was talking about, being busy with the visa and all that and the work stuff, but you guys know that when I can stream I will, and it's awesome to always see you whenever that is. Wow, look at that bat. It is looking pretty good. So let's try something real quick, shall we? Let's get this brush. This brush, I think it has a little bit of red on it. So what if, for example, we put some colors that are on the mini on our bat, just give it a little of that interestingness. You know, it's only one color here. And who is that? Oh, thank you so much, Nos. Thank you so much. Man, 16 months. 16 months. Holy crap. Thank you so much. Let's see. 11 hours. Oh man, thank you so much, and have a great night. Get some rest. Wow, that is... How many bracers did you make? Do you have like a little mountain of bracers? Well, I hope you had fun, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you so much for the raid. Let's see. And sorry, I didn't read that for a while, so if you're already sleeping, thanks anyway. Do you have to do this to get it on the tracker? I have no idea, and it has been updating sometimes live, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it updates later. Twitch has its own secrets that it doesn't share with us common mortals, I think, but don't you worry, it's gonna pop in at some point. I have no idea how and why it counts, but we'll get there. So let's get some of this blue, and let me try something here. So for example, let's try it over here. What if we plop... There's no blue. It's not enough blue. It's also ultramarine, so it's not a super strong color, but I wanted to try this. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just use Phthalo blue because it's more strong. Let's try it here. A little bit of, just a little bit. And you're barely gonna see it, but you're gonna see a hint of another color in a few areas. It's really gonna give you the idea that this bat exists in this space, that it reflects lights, that it interacts with other stuff, like here, and it's like down here we can give a little bit of blue in there, and maybe even there we can put some red, we can put some blue, maybe here. There might be a sky, that it's also reflecting, so let's do a bit of that, like on the upper area. And I could have done this, to be honest, before the highlights, but you know, who cares? What does the police come and get me for that? No. So there you go. Or at least I hope not. And then I want to get also a bit of red, which we can get some of this beautiful crimson and add in a bit of that cadmium red. And let's try over here, for example. What if we put some red in here? That was a lot of red. There you go. Sus. Let's see. Oh, my eye is itchy. And I'm trying to scratch my eye with the non-oily fingers, which I don't have a lot of those. How long do the oils usually take to dry my minis? God's alter ego? Good question. So, usually a few days, like 3 to 4 days, and you know, I'll leave them for a week to be completely sure, and I'll kind of like give them a slight touch to see if the oil is still dry. Definitely the second day, on the second day that I've been painting, most of them are still wet. There are some colors that dry quicker and some colors that dry a little slower, but then on like the third day they already are mostly dry. And then you see that little bit of red reflection. And then on the fourth, fifth day, they'll be completely dry. Now, usually I try not to rush it and just kind of, you know, I'll give them a few extra days too, just to be completely safe. But if you can touch it and the oils don't come off, you're good to go. And let's see. Yeah, so I'm starting to actually go around and add some other colors around the area here. So this black rope here can actually reflect a little bit of that that armor. Now it's gonna be a little hard for you to see on camera, but there's actually a lot of red on there, and we can blend it out. And let's get some red over here on this side. But it should really breathe a little bit of life into this. Nice. 3 to 4 days. Does yours take a lot longer? Now, I remember that when I started painting, they did take a lot longer for me too. And sometimes maybe in bits where I've used a lot of the slower drying paints like reds or even titanium white, maybe that'll take up to a week when, you know, I touch it and I still get a little bit of paint on it. But as you get better and better at using less paint, yeah, that'll take up to 5 days, let's say, to completely dry. Here we go. There we go. Well, this is looking really, really good. You know what? I think it might be time to maybe do a little drink. I'm being signaled that there might be a drink coming, so I'm gonna show you guys one of the drinks that I like to do here that I kinda invented. I'm gonna show. We're gonna have a little drink together. I haven't been enjoying a drink on stream in a while, so I think we can have a little bit of a toast to the stream, since lately it has been such a rare pleasure because I've been so busy. So I don't know when the next stream is gonna be. It could be tomorrow, it could be in 1 month. So let's have a toast. Now it's gonna come, I think, in a bit, maybe in a few minutes. Meanwhile, let's do a few highlights, and let's get a few more a few more little lights here and there. And then I wanted to retouch the hair a little bit, but mainly you can see how here, like for example, the bracer here is a little bit too dull, and if we add a few lights in there, it might actually do it. A week plus. I think I'm using more oil than I think I am. That's usually the most likely thing. Oh yeah, we have the base to finish as well. But you know, just keep. I remember that when I was painting for the first time, every time I was like, okay, less oil, less oil, less oil, and every mini that you do is just gonna be less and less and less. All right, I'm gonna take a break here with my hand for a second. Do you guys want to see something really funny? This is a drink that I do sometimes when I feel particularly hobo, because you know, I enjoy a craft beer. I enjoy beer very much, of drinks, or I'll enjoy, like, you know, a nice gin and tonic. But sometimes you just feel trashy, right? So this is a thing that I used to do when I was broke. So this is the cheapest beer that you can get from my supermarket. And it also mildly looks like an insult. Gent off. Um, this is not even beer. This is a thing called haposhu, where it kinda tastes like beer, but there's not enough, I think, like malt, or like there's not enough ingredients in it for it to be called a beer legally. So this is like really rough stuff. But what I do with this, I make a drink that was actually inspired by the trips that I made in England back in the day when I was living in Europe, where they have a drink called a snake bite, which is beer and cider. Well, usually when I get these beers, I make a thing called a tanuki bite, because we're in Japan, where I take the beer and I actually mix it. Let me do this thing here where we get this guy over here and he stays and he doesn't fall. And we mix it with plum liquor, and it pretty much makes it good. It's no, it's 70% off sugars. Can't you read? Come on. It's 70% off sugars. It's the nastiest thing. This was like less than 100 yen, like 96 yen. But no, it's not. I think it's just no, it's a 4%er, so it's not much. But hold on. I put plum liquor in it. There we go. So we're gonna, first we do the beer. Also, look at my fancy Moscow Mule glass that I got for Christmas. This is also a really good image reference for non-metallic metal. Look at this glass. Look at the colors that it reflects. So we have our shit beer. Now, I was very gently given. This is plum liquor. It's really good. And thank you for the hydrate. This is not fancy plum liqueur. This comes from a carton, just for you to know. But it's very sweet, and you know, and it gave me the idea, since, you know, snakebite is with cider and beer. I thought, well, if I make plum liquor and beer in Japan, what should I call it? So we called it Tanuki Bite, and that is an original drink. That is when we feel particularly fancy, that is what we do. Anyway, let's cheers. Cheers, and cheers. If you guys join me with beer or coffee or anything, to the stream, to the painting, to finishing this beautiful oni, and to having fun together. And thank you guys so much for being here with me. I'm gonna have a little drink. Yay. Yeah, we don't only mix paint here, we also mix cheap drinks. You try whiskey sour. Oh, they love a whiskey sour. They love their whiskey and soda here. They call it a highball here in Japan, and it's a very popular drink. I used to hate it, but I guess, you know, as you grow with the years, I can drink it now. Anyway, well, let's keep going. Let me organize my glasses here so I can grab both the Tiny Stein and there you go, and that. There you go. Also, apparently that dose of liquor was supposed to make my drink and another drink, and I used the whole thing, so I'm a terrible person. Oh, whiskey and sour mix. Ahaha. They do it, usually they use shochu here to do the sours, and they have all kinds. They have lemon sour, grapefruit sour, they have all kinds of these sours. Sounds pretty good. They have all these, they also, these sours, like, you can find them in a can form. Let me just check the focus. There we go. and they have all the flavors under the sun, and they have been getting more and more alcoholic as the years go by. It has been a little bit out of control. I want to know what is in a highball somewhere. Anyway, not sure how different it would be. I don't know. The sours here are usually made with shochu, which is pretty much alcohol. I don't like shochu. It just tastes like alcohol. Just eh. I do like sake or nihonshu, to call it with its proper name. Did you know that sake is actually the word for alcoholic beverage in Japanese? You're welcome. So beer is sake. Everything, whiskey is sake. And then the word that they use here for sake is nihonshu,